This is more difficult every time I do it instead of easier.
All right.
Jesus, dude, I'm so sorry. This is like the 10th time I've done it, and I'm getting worse at it.
This is how Mexican I am. I was going around turning lights off. I'm like, man, you know what? I can't have the blender. The lady's been vacuuming. So I say, hey, stop vacuuming. Talk to my friend.
Hey, man, I just got to ask you. It seems like you're holding up pretty good, like with a better sense of humor than I am, for sure. That's for real sure. But how are you really doing?
Listen, you know, I've hardly been home the 6 years that I've been in this house.
Yeah.
And there's a dog down there that is a Saint Bernard that barks incessantly all day. I'm ready to get a couple of vatos down here from Koreatown and go over there and make a little fricassee, man. You know how this thing, if this thing started by somebody eating a bat, wait till we get a hold of this Great Dane here, man. Every bark goes through my whole spine, and I love rescue dogs, but I'm ready to, you know, I've been trying to look for some Vicodin, but I can't. I guess I must have taken them all. The best I have is Prilosec. I can't throw Prilosec over there. But no. I mean, I think I've had some pretty good days, and you know, last week some pretty bad days. I mean, I think the key to it, aside from thinking too much about it, is to get up and to you know, wash your ass, like they used to say in the hood. Like, you gotta get up and you gotta be active. You can't if you're already wearing the same clothes past 2, man, you're not gonna have a pretty productive day.
I'm wearing the same clothes past 2. That's my problem right now. It really is. I went outside.
You gotta get up. Like, I've been trying to play the guitar. I've been counting people that have been walking by the house without masks, you know, yelling out in Spanish, "Ponte la máscara, cabrón!" You know, so that they don't think it's me. But
do you wear a mask? Do you go out? What do you do for groceries? How are you doing it all?
I sent one of my best Mexicans out that has a limp, and so he's able to get in early, like, because he's got one of those blue stickers. So this dude cannot stand for long, and he gets to park up front. So when they see him already fully engulfed in sweat, because, you know, seniors can shop at like 5 in the morning, they're like, we got to get you know, this isn't an urgent care, this is a Ralph's. And, he's like, I just need a couple of things.
Do you think that you're gonna have incredible material after all this?
You know what? I hope not. But I mean, my grandmother's been training me for this my whole life. You know, don't touch that. That's not yours. Go over there where I can't see you. Well, you know, I made a shank out of an old toothbrush that I had and an old vinyl record. I made myself a shank. So if anybody tries to get frisky, I got an Oral-B with a bit of Never Can Say Goodbye from the Jackson 5 taped to the end of it. So, you know, I'm making shanks now in the neighborhood.
I wrote a joke for you earlier, but I don't know. I don't think it's I don't think it's in good taste. But if I was a comedian, which I'm not, I was, you know, the retail business is doing so bad. I saw a sign out front that said "Buy one get 19 free."
That's good. But you know, people are still delivering food. Like, you know, how can that happen? How, you know, how is McDonald's? Probably because they don't use real meat. But allegedly that the quarantine doesn't affect any McDonald's or any fast food restaurants, because that has to go through people's hands as well. The tough thing that's aside from the loneliness, I was thinking about asking my first wife to marry me again, just so I have somebody to fight with.
So this is a true story. I'm going to tell you this true story. My daughter and her boyfriend live in a house underneath this couple. and she would tell me, she's like, Dad, I got to get out of this place, because every day we just hear them having sex.
Oh.
And it's making me nuts, and I don't want to do it anymore. Well, since they've been in the house like this, they haven't had sex once, and they're yelling at each other all day long.
Yeah. because you can't. I mean, the thing that the thing was to either fall asleep and then you wake up and somebody's gone. Either they've gone to work or they're in another part of the house. But this is a tough. It's a tough thing. I've already between. It's you have to think. You go. Do I join Jerkmates or do I go through a closet? You have the checks and balances. I've already passed porn. Like I'm already like, I've seen her already. So, between not leaving the house and never wanting to leave the house before, now everything I like, they closed. Like they closed all the golf courses. They closed. I can't get a haircut.
Yeah.
You can't. And the thing is too is that the Latino culture is they don't believe anything. And if somebody even were to die in front of you, they would think, yeah, he's fucking around. That's what happens. But to think that something could kill you that you can't see, other than the Llorona and the Cucuy and the Chupacabra, that's a short list of, and coronavirus isn't on that list.
Yeah.
The owl with the man head in Mexico, the Chupacabra. We see things nobody else sees. The Virgen de Guadalupe and a tortilla, a stain in a window. And stuff like that. So it's been tough to try to get the word out to our culture that they got to stay in because they all want to, So everybody,
Hey, so you and I are both.
I mean,
say that again.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say you and I are both friends with Gavin Newsom.
Yes. Who I think has done a great job.
How do you think Gavin did?
I think he's done a great job. I think de Blasio in New York has done a great job. I think Gavin's also done a great job because you want to get the facts and you want them to be correct for your area. It's almost like, in some, like White Castle is big in the Midwest, but not in Los Angeles, or, different coffee places and stuff. Like getting the news from Washington is almost like, going and looking for like a Hardee's when you live in LA. You want to get the real news and the real facts. And the fact is that more people are getting it. And, people don't want to stay home and they don't want to self-quarantine. So thinking about trying to get the whole world to buy into the fact that you have to stay home to live.
Do you think that Gavin coming out so early will guarantee him a presidential run in 4 years?
I think that I think in seeing him in control, accurate, and seeing him on a national scale, which in the last year, in the last 3 months has been different than it was a year ago. So I would say if Gavin Newsom had thoughts of running for president, that I think he would make a fine candidate.
I think so too.
Now, who he would pick for vice president is another thing, but because now you have to think that has to be a worthy partner as well. You just can't do it where you pick like Dan Quayle or you pick Sarah Palin or you pick somebody where before it was almost like a stepping stone to the presidency. Not so much anymore, but I think that in a vote being of significant value, that the ticket has to be the whole ticket and not just somebody at the top of the ticket.
Yeah, I think so too, especially now in the culture that we live in, having a Latino partner or a woman, someone that isn't looked at as the same is going to really help Gavin. But he's very smart to pick the person that he thinks is the most qualified. And he knows that there are a lot of minorities, a lot of women that are capable of being great partners. So I think that he'll make all those good decisions, and hopefully he'll have a chance at it, because I think he'd be really good at helping us get through stuff like this. Do you think that
Chris Rock said a long time ago, he said, if you want to make sure that somebody gets elected, Gavin should pick a Latino for vice president, because nothing would happen to Gavin as long as there was a camera like behind him. Like, I don't know, man. I was just right there. And they asked me to follow them, and then it's like me and him holding hands, like yeah. So, know,
he also said that his dad used to, the only thing that he would, the only remedy for being sick was Robitussin. So he would just say, rub some tussin on it. And so that reminds me of the COVID-19. Just rub some tussin on that.
Tussin on it. And they would drink Robitussin. And, you know, think about, like, you know, back in the day when you used to be able to go get a can of spray paint or some glue, you know, and everybody, like, these dudes would all, like, start huffing glue, like, put it in a sock and walking around and sprayed silver paint into a handkerchief. And go, no, I'm not doing anything. Meanwhile, they have, like me, all metal flake around the side of the house. You know, like some glamour clown, you know, they got like red around here, sparkles. Oh, I look sparkly. What?
Yeah.
I just came from work. So, you know, there's a million ways that people used to be able to get high, and now, you know, not so much. You know, you used to be able to sit and build a model airplane with glue on a little part and try to go like that. Meanwhile, the whole glue is going into your tester, you know, and all the stuff that once you open the glue capped itself. You didn't even have to worry about finding the cap because the glue stuck to itself.
I have a son who's 27, and when he was just starting high school, the cans of computer paint or the cleanser were disappearing off of shelves, and that was kids' way. They would huff and just pass out together. They'd go to a park and they'd all be laying on the ground in a puddle of nonsense.
Yeah.
But like, those are weird times too, man.
You know what? I never told anybody this. I tried to paint my mom's bathroom with spray paint. And as I was spraying in there, they were pushing the door, but I was against the door, like almost bent in half like that. Because the fumes and I'm just like a slumped over body, like on Halloween, like only a dummy could get in that kind of position where you're into yourself, you know, and they're pushing the door, and I got yellow under my feet, and I'm just like one of those Easter peeps. I'm just covered in yellow, and I'm, you know, and then all they said is like, it's not even. Because it was a spray can. They're more worried about the look of the wall than me laying there, you know, with yellow in my nose for like 5 years. They go, "You all right, man? You look like you got the flu." No, I try to spray paint my mom's bathroom with yellow paint. I'm good. I'm not jaundiced. I thought I've never felt better in my life.
Did you get to spend Easter with anyone?
Mine came over yesterday. Mr. Good Bar and some ice cream. It's almost like, you know, it is almost like you're in prison. You know, they bring you a book and they bring you some candy. You know, they a comb. You know, it's almost like you. It's almost like you are. But you know, I hope that and I think the thing is too. Another thing to get serious is that, you know, because we opened the restaurants and the restaurants are doing well. And,
really? Hold on, your restaurants are open?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Also, that a lot of the people can't survive, or a lot of people, not just in restaurants, but they don't have the disposable income to be able to take a month or 2 or 3 off and worry about paying their bills. So there has to be a kind of nationwide moratorium where they say, listen, if you're a little late on your rent, we understand. I mean, there's no landlord living week to week, or else somebody that owns an apartment, they can let some stuff slide.
Yeah.
You know, like taxes. Even, you know, taxes are the things you were two things you were sure about were death and taxes. Even they moved 2 months. So I think mortgage companies and I think car companies and gas and light and electric and everything that we use on a daily basis has to get in there and move. If the government is willing to push something 3 months, everybody else should be able to push something 3 months.
I agree. And so, you know, I want to ask you a whole bunch about your touring and stuff, because you have a golf tournament that hasn't been canceled yet in May, but we'll see how that goes. And then some other things like the Playboy, every year you host the Playboy Jazz Festival, right? And that has not been canceled yet. But my manager mentioned something about next year, and he said everybody's going to be out next year to try to recover from this year. We're all going to be competing for dollars to get from people that haven't
Right.
had jobs in months. And so it's going to be a pretty difficult couple of years for sports and entertainment and just to recover. And I'm not complaining because I don't have a real job. So I'm not saying, hey, I'm hurting. I'm saying in the world that's coming, it's not going to be over as soon as we get back to work.
No, I think that, I think it puts a definite magnifying glass on things that we look at as just strictly entertainment. Basketball players and baseball players and, people who are talented in sports all around the world get to play a game that you played as a kid for a lot of money. And, even LeBron James said, like, we don't want to play in empty arenas, but it's entertainment and health and people's security. And then the tickets were a lot of money. Now you look at, a Laker ticket being $2,700.
Yeah.
And seeing how ridiculous that looks.
Right.
People's nut is $2,700 a month.
Right.
And all of the things, like I spent a lot of money. I've been sitting here looking at things that haven't been opened and looking at things that were so expensive and thinking, if this is all frivolous things that I didn't need, that I bought because I was out. And now looking back, that you think, well, that's a lot of money that I spent on things that I didn't really need. And my website and my store guy made some masks. We made the male mask, the chingon.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's awesome.
And then we made the chingona.
Yeah. And
we're using that money to go back and into the LA Food Bank and place around that need money, like right now. Like, you give somebody, you put it into not even the foundation, but you put it into somebody that if you gave them $1,000, it would change their month. It would change their next 2 months. So that kind of situation. And unfortunately that it's so big, but everybody who has means and all the companies that have means should be able to help other people out. Like Uber, I checked Uber, they're still driving. First of all, you don't even know what country that vato's from. And now with everything that's going on with social distancing, anybody that just gets in an Uber, why don't you just go lay down in the street and let somebody run you over? Because if those dudes don't have it and then they turn the heater on and it brings all the smells out again, that's like taking some fat soup or some beef stew and just stirring all the fat back into it and serving it hot.
Yeah.
The things that we would take for granted. Yeah. Getting in a pool with 1,000 other people, getting in a hot tub.
Yeah.
Going over to the Playboy Mansion. They got rid of the grotto because I think the water just fucking got up and walked away. Like if there was a place that would harbor hepatitis, like hepatitis would say to the coronavirus, hey, come over here, man. You're safe in here. If that place, if the ring around the grotto couldn't kill you, by the time you got to your car in valet, nothing could. I went in there one time, man, and it's almost like you have a film on you. Like sometimes you brush your teeth and you eat something and you're like, I've got like a film on my teeth. Well, imagine that all over your body, just going in to see if anybody was in there.
Have you had moments of like, oh shit, I got this. Like I woke up like this today, or I got a cough, or like anything like that?
The greatest picture is that picture of Lawrence Fishburne from What's Love Got to Do with It, where he's just kind of looking over with his eyes like that. And my housekeeper said, I coughed, and they both ran outside, left the door open. Like they ran over my mop. I gotta get another mop. They just took off. So before you would hear somebody sneeze once, and then maybe twice. And in our culture, they're like, you sneeze once, they're like, God bless you. You sneeze twice, silence. You sneeze 3 times, they're like, you know what? Just die already. I'm not. Zero patience. Zero patience.
Man, that's so.
And
that's
you know what?
so
also, kids, like child abuse is back. Like people are fucking throwing kids around, because they've never had to spend 24 hours a day, or they say, "Oh, I'm homeschooling the kids now."
Yeah.
And, I remember trying to help Mayan with her homework when she was 7, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what homeschool is like. But today, my friend said, I'm hoping the weather gets better so the kids could go in the pool. It's fucking 70 degrees out here.
Man, it finally got nice here in Washington because it's been wet and 45 degrees.
Well,
But
if
when
you
it
can
comes,
survive out there, if you can survive where you are, you
yeah,
can survive anything. Because I went
but
out there and worked at a club, Giggles, when I first started, and it rained the same amount the whole 8 days I was there. It never rained more. It never rained less. It just
yeah,
rained the same amount.
the same. I
It's
know.
like somebody going, "Hey, don't touch my volume." It just stayed on the same thing the
Yeah.
whole week.
Hey, somebody just asked if Gavin were to ask you to run with him, would you do it?
Yeah, over there by Presidio Park. No, I have no desire to enter politics. I thought I wanted to be the mayor of LA, but Pat, I've done too many things that a lot of people know about, and those are the first things they go to when you run
Yeah.
for office. And no, I know where I've been. You know what they say? You go, "Hey, I don't want to sleep with this guy because I know where he's been." Listen, I know where I've been, and I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, that's what I think about too. When it comes to all of this stuff, what I'm noticing is as time goes on, uh, there's a lot of judgment on how people are behaving and who's like if you're wearing a mask and you see people not wearing a mask, you're like, man, that fucking guy's not taking it
Right.
seriously. And then there's other people not wearing masks that are staying distant from other people, and they're like, you know, I'm doing all the right stuff, just back off. Like, I'm doing my thing, go do your thing. There is a unity, but there's a division that I'm watching happen as well. And I wonder how it'll pan out. And then when people say, okay, let's go back at it, let's go back to work and let's do everything, how many
Well,
people are going to go to any events with more than 10 people? Who's going to want to go?
it's going to be a different world because, listen, I mean, there's a lady that comes and delivers flowers here. And when I buy flowers for people, I sent you flowers at the Hollywood Bowl and champagne.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And this lady is just the hardest worker, and she's the sweetest lady, and she got it.
Ah,
And once you go, she's not on a ventilator, but unfortunately, once you get to the ventilator stage, like, you don't really come off it. And
right.
the fact that there's a shortage of ventilators, or stuff like that I've seen some videos of people that have it, and it is no way to go out, or people that have unfortunately passed that can't have a service, or people that have to walk up to the window to say Happy Easter. And all of that is all the situation that we're in. It isn't about race. It isn't about money. It isn't about sexuality. It isn't about how you live. This is like a global pandemic, and everybody has it. Maybe in India, there's some smells that might kill it, but here, but here, it's just the smell of culo and underarm at the same time. I think it could be, there's almost like scientists going, give me a little bit more culo, but just a little less underarm, and we'll put them together and release it. But if this turns out to be something that's man-made and somehow got away from the lab, or however, it's the biggest tragedy, because the fact that anybody has had to die during this, and it's sad, because
It's the worst.
the warnings were out. The warnings were out in Katrina. The warnings were out in 9/11. And, there's just, as citizens, we have to be, we deserve better truths than what we're getting.
Yeah. And so do you think that, so today there was a retweet from Trump, and in it at the bottom, it said #fire Fauci. So are you a Fauci fan? Or are you just a fan of doctors in general? Do you ever question that anyone on that stage every day has political aspirations or financial aspirations that are beyond the citizens of the world or the United States? So they're thinking, hey, I need to lead us this way. But like Trump, he's seeing the power of the economy go into a doctor's hands. And so there's a lot of speculation that this is not a good time to be led by such chaos.
It's not. I mean, the whole, I think we can get back up by Easter. Clearly, we're not even at maybe the worst part of it. But I do trust the medical community, like Fauci. I'm not sure that the leader of the free world should retweet something maybe a guy who is not in politics sent. Retweeting that you should fire him is not the smart. I mean, it's just not a smart thing to do. I trust that. Listen, I had an uncle that got the wrong knee worked on one time, but that was more Kaiser Permanente and not the actual, it was more his insurance, but not the medical. But I trust the medical people, and I don't trust a guy who's been bankrupt 5 times telling you that everything's going to be all right.
Yeah. Or that maybe even like, if you think about like me about my guitar player Luis, to like say, hey, I hope everybody's doing great out there, hashtag fire Luis, like to just turn people against them. Yeah. It's just bizarre.
I think
it's such not unity.
I think if you look up fire Luis, there's probably like 37 million of them, right up there with No Way Jose. But there has to be, you know, there can't be people that just jump ship. And there used to be a way to disagree politically and not be about hate. And, you know, I got in trouble for saying that, you know, Iran had offered a bounty, and then I said that I would do it for half, and the Secret Service ended up coming to visit me, and I told them that was an estimate and not a death threat. You know, so I said, you know, that's more of an estimate. If you can find somebody that'll do it for less, that's, you know, do that. That's just my what I can do it for. Material out the door. But it just tells you where we are as a society, where we're not able to politically make jokes. Johnny Carson spent his lifetime.
Yeah.
Omar has gotten in trouble and things like that. Listen, there's nobody that likes to blame things on other ethnicities other than Mexicans, and we've managed to hold our tongue. So there has to be some decorum, you know, because we'd always go, hey, Chino's parking his car in front of, again, you know, nobody had a name. They were just that Chino, you know.
My manager's favorite thing you've ever done was that tweet. He just thought it was the greatest thing he's ever seen on the internet.
Oh yeah, oh man, yeah, I had some pretty good ones. You know, I've always been able to take the moment and turn it into something funny. Like even on the cruise ship when hand sanitizer. First of all, 6-man and Norwegian cruise line is the greatest, absolute cleanest, because we were out there at sea with sea air and alcohol and all the things that all those wonderful people had, sweat, and nobody got sick on that cruise line. So there's somebody that's not putting all the spoons into the dishwasher at the end of the night. You know, things used to look clean. You know, before, if you went to a restaurant and you got a spoon that had some water spots on it, I'll forget it.
Yeah. Or like maybe this isn't the time to hold the spoon up and go,
no,
and then wipe it.
That's what we used to do. We go like that, man. You blow on your glasses. My grandmother would spit on a Kleenex and wipe my face. I could smell the spit in her body because it tastes like Maybelline and spit.
Yeah. So what do you think's gonna
that with their eyebrow pencil? They put like a little spit on it and they do their eyelashes.
What do you think will open first? Do you think? Because when I look honestly at like some of the golf Instagrams that I follow, and they have these pictures of like one guy in a golf cart all by himself and his friends 20 feet away from him hitting his own ball, and then they show you a picture of Costco's parking lot and go, this one's safe but that one's not. It's kind of strange. Do you think that the states, I know that the 3 governors in the West, Oregon, Washington, and California, have committed to working together to try to do it simultaneously in a way that works. Do you think that May 1st, May 5th, when do you think golf courses are going to give us a chance to go back?
Well, there's the one in La Quinta that, I mean, there's a lot of old people there in La Quinta, and that one said they're going to be closed till the middle of June. So I would expect that. I would expect that probably maybe schools or I don't know. A lot of people are able to work from home. That's a different thing now, that you can still able, you know, I know guys in the record business and people that are students that still are studying at home, which is different from me. Once I came home, man, I was like, no, but I think the world of sports and the world of entertainment and the world of the stuff that like that is going to change. Movie theaters, water parks and amusement parks. And because, you know, what's to say that when this thing does leave, it won't come back, you know?
Yeah. Well, they canceled Burning Man today.
Yeah.
And that's not scheduled until, I think, early September. It's
Right.
around Labor Day. So, I mean, they could have held off and waited, but I think that they're probably thinking they put up their sales this week. So if they do that and they don't do well, then they're in more trouble than just shutting it down. I mean, and then baseball, they're thinking about running baseball out of Arizona with no one in the stands, but everybody's got to touch the same ball.
You know, now if you look at that documentary about the guy trying to do the Fry Festival, that dude was ahead of his time, because there was, there was only 17 people that went anyways.
Yeah.
One of the Kardashians did a promo on Instagram, and 17 people showed up. So it's going to definitely be much different. Pat, I think Zoom. I mean, look what happened. Zoom has come into the thing where, FaceTime, multi-FaceTime, or Skype, I think, got snatched up by Zoom. Skype, I don't think really ever had the capability of putting 16 people on.
Yeah. And what about the Tiger King? Who would have thought that guy would be the most important person in the world? So
the thing that I heard is that the guy who came in with the baseball cap, with the whole Bret Michaels look, with that guy is Carol Baskin's first husband.
What?
That she got that guy. That's her first husband. You can look it up. She got that guy to infiltrate Joe.
Oh, that's amazing.
Remember, he became like his right hand man, and then ended up with the zoo. Well, that guy who was involved, I think, at the beginning of the murder for hire, that guy was her first husband. Joe Exotic had a ton of great sayings and a ton of anger, but he didn't have the smarts. He let his emotions get ahead of him. He's shooting into the watermelon. He's shooting into the water. And this is what's going to happen if you come over here. And she did it. She got her first husband to go and befriend that dude and end up being owner of the zoo.
I mean, that's the best drama in the world, like, for years.
If the world can be that fascinated by white trash, there's hope for this country after all.
Yeah, there is hope, George.
You know what I liked? Is
there anything?
You know what I liked is that I mean, not that I liked it, but I thought, where they go, he goes in there and he goes, "Listen, everybody, somebody out there just got their arm taken off by a tiger. I can give you your money back, or you can come back." And then he puts on a medic. It's almost like that old I Love Lucy, where the lady was the sheriff and she was the judge and she was the cop and she was the detective. That guy puts on a paramedic jacket. He's like, stay with me. That dude is a fucking paramedic. He's out there with different fucking jerseys.
Man, my family, we do work with the kids, we exercise, we make dinners together.
Yeah.
And then we watch a movie every night. And so yesterday they were watching Rio 2. And of course, you're a big part of that. You're Raphael in that, right?
Yes, I am, yeah. I had some
How many movies have you been in?
I think I've been in almost 30, but the animation, it's so funny, Pat, because, a lot of people originally will say no if something appears to be small, or a job or an opportunity. They're like, you know what? It's not what I want to do. It's not what I saw myself doing. And then maybe you say no, but then you close off like something that to me. It was 4 lines taken. So I didn't really look at it, and then they said to me, "Hey, are you interested in that thing? That because they want to know." And it was like there were no parts left, and I said, "You know what? I'll do it." So there were 4 parts. I had to be in Burbank at this place by 1 o'clock. I show up at 1:05. This guy Raja Gosnell comes over, and he goes, "Hi, I'm Raja. I'm the director." "Oh, hi, I'm George. This is Drew." Drew Barrymore was in the first Beverly Hills Chihuahua. And 5 minutes after I got there, I'm singing to Drew Barrymore through a glass, telling her, "Oh, mi amor, mi corazón, I love you so much," and this and that. And she's like, "Oh," she turns me down. And the pathos that this little dog had, the fact that he was so cute, I kept going back in there, and then it became like the star of the movie. And we did 3. And because I went in there, that Raja got the Smurfs. Then I did Smurfs 1 and 2.
Wow,
Then Smurfs, I did Rio. Then I did Marmaduke. Then I did, and it just turned into all.
What about one of my kids' favorites that we're going to watch tonight is Shark Boy.
That's the one I got to apologize for. Shark Boy and Lava Girl, Robert Rodriguez did. And at that time, it didn't really make a lot of money. But every kid, you know, Robert Rodriguez, when he offered it to me, he goes, "Are you ready for every kid to know who you are?" And I said, "Yeah." And he wasn't lying, man, because now all the kids that were like your kid's age when it came out are now in their early 20s, TikTokers, or they're big on Instagram. And that thing, Mr. Electric, and all of the Dream thing, and Taylor Lautner's first movie, and he was like 12. And Robert Rodriguez said to me, "Hey, man, I found this kid that can do like 7 backflips, and he's a martial artist." And we were in the parking lot at Troublemaker Studio in Austin, and here he comes, man. He does like 6 flips and lands and does, you know, the whole like this. And it's like, "Where'd you find this kid?" And he became a huge star. Yeah, I think he's over his weight limit now, but you know, he's done the Twilight. So
when you think about your life, and then, you know, the fact that you can be home for a couple months, and like, do you understand like, sometimes it's never good enough and I haven't done enough. Do you have a place in you that you have done enough, and you have met a standard to what you hope to live to and everything? You know, because you come from such a unique upbringing where you basically don't know your dad, right? And then when you're 10, you don't have your mom anymore, and your grandmother, who you joke about a lot in an amazing way, raises you. And so you are such an overachiever, right? You have a late night talk show that you're the first Mexican American, or maybe the first Latino to ever have anything like that in an English speaking channel. I mean, and the list goes on. There's so many amazing things, and you still work so hard. Is there just something in you that, just to find self-love, you just have to work until you can't anymore? Because I feel like a huge part of me is like that. Like, there's no end for me, because I don't look in the mirror and go, "Fuck yeah, bro."
Yeah.
I never have. I never can. I just feel like instead of pretending I can someday, I just want to work through it.
Well, you know, I don't know. Like, you know, you and I, when we first met, we really, really connected. You know, we stayed up late having drinks there in the lobby of the Four Seasons, I think, or the Biltmore, whatever that Ritz or whatever. And we stayed up there late. And I mean, we really, really, like, the next morning we saw each other, and we were just like connected from the beginning. But you're an incredible talent. You're beloved. You're able to write some songs. When you did my talk show, I hadn't seen you since then, and you did Soul Sister, and it was like one of my things. Like, I got it in my head, and you know, with very few guests would you get something in your head and have it stay with you, and meet somebody that they just kind of stayed with you from that first experience. You know, they would say, you know, "Well, who were your favorite guests?" You know, favorite guest is one thing, but when you meet somebody and they're one of your favorite people, and you know you're going to know them for a long time. I mean, that's one of the things that, if you're self-quarantined, you know, people have been reaching out to people more. You know, Lee Trevino called me a couple of times on this thing. He and I are like that. You know, he was my idol growing up. Eddie Van Halen and I are close, really close. And not to drop names, but I mean, when you see a guy like that, and you know his health hasn't been the best, but you saw us together and you met him. He loved you. He's just the sweetest guy. So whatever sometimes people think people are, they're really not, because whatever you are at work, wherever you are in a public personality, is not what you are. You know, it's almost like soap operas where somebody will be like a bad guy, and then that guy will be in a restaurant and ladies will be mad at him because he plays this kind of guy that cheats on his old lady, or he's, you know, a bad guy. But that's not really who they are. Like, you know, so I would